You see the show topics.
And we are
And we're
live.
live. Hey, we said at the same time, you owe me a Pepsi.
I'll get you a Pepsi.
Welcome. Why, you don't drink Pepsi? Me neither. It's the high fructose. You know what I had? I had the Pepsi with the sugar in it just for it wasn't a cookout, a random cookout. It was good. It was delicious. But anyway, aloha snack bar, everyone. It's the one, the only, the dynamic duo of the grape ape, followed by the man who is the master of the flux capacitor, who is right now working the airwaves, folks. And I kid you not, we have a direct live feed on every social media platform known to man, even a feed going into the bathroom of Kim Jong Un in North Korea. CJ set it up, and we are live streaming to the bathroom of Kim Jong Un in North Korea. With that being said, you can follow us on Twitter at the Rogue Money. Check us out on Facebook at Rogue Money and RogueMoney.net, the place where you need to be. With that being said, also, guys, check out our main sponsors. These guys are the ones who are the economic, not they're the economic, hey, they're the financial A team getting you the better credit score that you deserve. Check out myfreedomnow.us. Let these guys kick the bankers in the nuts. If you're running scared, do not be afraid. Do not be wary. There's options. Check them out, myfreedomnow.us. And we have with us today the one, the only, because the weather's starting to warm up. He is out from the colds of Siberia. The one and only James, the Russian Analyst, will be joining us. So, gentlemen, where do we begin? We have a litany of news, but I want to start first with Dina Powell. Who is Dina Powell, and why is this character so important to this narrative that we're seeing, this trifecta of charlatanism that is starting to rise within the administration? James, I will start with you.
Thank you for having me on the program today, everyone, and looking forward to speaking about this topic. Just briefly wanted to give a plug for Deb Bankster Slayer Carruthers' article.
Yep.
It's up on Rogue Money right now about Dina Powell, Dina Habib Powell, who is a native of Texas, born to Coptic Egyptian parents, and she is now in the Trump administration involved in Middle East policy. She is an Arabic speaker who interpreted during President Trump's meeting with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who people in this Rogue Money audience are very familiar with, thanks to the articles of The Prince. And I've mentioned him a few times in some of my articles dating back to 2015 about the Saudi-Yemen war. Essentially, Dina Powell is someone who was brought on board from the Goldman Sachs crew of pirates, that is Gary Cohn, her former boss, and Steve Mnuchin, and many of these other characters in the administration. And she apparently, according to an article that was up this morning by, actually posted over the weekend by Mike Cernovich, is involved together with National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster in pushing for a major arms deal with the Saudi kingdom, as well as the sale of commercial nuclear reactors to the Saudis. And this arms deal, the timing of it appears to be motivated or coinciding with Cernovich's previous story concerning McMaster's drive to put between 50 and up to an excess of 150,000 American troops on the ground in Syria to both destroy ISIS and potentially partition the country on behalf of the Saudi kingdom and their multi-billion-dollar investment in the Syrian war, dating back all the way to 2011 and possibly as early as 2006.
Unreal. Unreal, and but James, I'm sure this is part of the 4D chess that's being played. Here's the thing: Gary Cohn is a killer. Gary Cohn is a dirty, dirty bastard. We all know who Gary Cohn is. He's very well documented. Okay, this is not somebody the type of person you want there. This is the Gary Cohn Kushner network, the Kushner Cohn network, with Cohn being the head guy of that network. He's the handler for Kushner. Kushner's the guy who feeds the false intel to Trump because of the simple fact that right now Kushner is the conduit at the NSC, meaning every single presidential briefing and intel has to go through Jay Kush because he's such a foreign policy expert, guys. He's such a foreign policy expert that all the intel has to go through him, and he gets to pick and choose what the president sees. Now, here's the funny thing, okay? Um, his recent trip, that infamous, J. Crew war collection photograph that was taken when he went to Iraq, guys. That infamous trip to Iraq was pretty funny. It was stated and mentioned by Ivanka and as well as Kushner himself when when reporters asked him, "Where did you learn about Iraq?" He said, "Oh, I was on my ski lift. I was waiting for my ski lift, and then I read up quickly on Iraq." And then the reporter asked Ivanka, a few days later, that did Jay Kush read this on a ski lift? Oh yes, my husband read this on a ski lift. It was amazing. I mean, you mean to tell me our foreign policy in the Middle East is run by a 36-year-old dingbat whose understanding or his intelligence on a foreign country is done while he's waiting for a ski lift? This is what we have dealing with, guys. It's unfreaking believable. And
Well,
does not surprise me.
unfortunately, yes,
ahead,
and unfortunately, we're seeing the foreign policy of the U.S. basically become another puppet of the Saudis. So last week,
Or of the
Secretary
globalists
of
who
Defense
use the Saudis more accurately.
Secretary of Defense James Mattis just came out and announced that basically that the U.S. would get more involved with the Saudi-led war in Yemen. So
that's
last
wonderful.
week, James Mattis was there, expressing his full support of the Saudis. Quote unquote, everywhere you look, if there's trouble in the region, you find Iran. So Mattis said Wednesday after meetings with King Salman and other Saudi officials. So right now, what we're seeing is the nations in the region, others everywhere, trying to checkmate Iran and the amount of disruption and instability they can cause. So again, we're seeing a huge foreign policy shift completely away from the original Trump on the stump, Trump on the campaign stance regarding, hey, let's scale things back a little bit, a different era of peace. But however, it looks like the empire of chaos will continue.
And tying this together between the connections between Dina Habib Pal, Gary Cohn, and the Saudis is the Bush family legacy. Dina, her career was meteoric once she was an intern in the late 1990s for Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison of Texas. Then she went to work for House Majority Leader Dick Armey, who remarked that she was not only brilliant, but gorgeous as well. And certainly her looks didn't hurt, as well as her knowledge of Arabic in riding up the ladder very fast to become a senior aide to Condoleezza Rice by the second term of George W. Bush, from which she resigned in 2007 to join Goldman Sachs, where she also went from an associate to a managing director by 2010 when she left Goldman.
How? I mean, how? What is this meteor? I mean, what's going on?
Well, I think part of it is that she speaks Arabic and she is connected to Huma Abedin. Who I'm sure your upcoming, well, I don't want to spill the beans, but your hopefully upcoming guest, Roger Stone, will be happy to talk more about.
Raj and Harley will be on with us on Thursday together. It's going to be like an hour long or more interview, so you guys better get braced for that.
Glad we got the plug in.
Yeah, hey, James, you also have an article that's going up on roguemoney.net later on today. Is that correct?
That is correct. The title of the article is, if I'm going from memory here, I don't have my computer in front of me, Dina Pal, H.R. McMaster, and the neocon Saudi lobby co-opt Trump.
This is not good.
Yeah, I didn't put a question mark behind it either. I mean, I guess, Peter can decide if he wants to put a question mark on that headline, but that's how I see what's happening right now in the administration. Like I said, Dina Pal worked for Gary Cohn at Goldman Sachs from 2007, 2010. And then she was brought in. Actually, she was brought in as an advisor to Ivanka on this women's empowerment thing. But apparently this administration is so short-staffed with Arabic speakers, they just basically platooned her into interpreting for the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman meeting. And from there, she's basically acquired a very important role for McMaster on the National Security Council staff. And she came on board right around the time, and this is what Deb reported from citing Catherine Austin Fitts interview with Dark Journalist. She came on board at the recommendation of her former boss, then Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, who visited the White House right before the Al-Shayrat Tomahawk missile strike.
Huh. Interesting. The timing is impeccable. And here's the funny thing: you mean to tell me that since the War of Terror kicked off, that the FBI and CIA have a dearth? There's an absolute dearth of Arabic speakers. They can't find anybody. They had to pick Dina Powell. I mean, are you kidding me? This is the kind of narrative they want us to believe, guys. It's unfreaking believable.
It is.
Well, I don't think. Look, I'm not questioning Dina Powell's competency.
Oh, it's not that at all.
Of the region. What I'm questioning is her relationship to Goldman Sachs and what is Goldman Sachs' agenda in the Middle East, and how is it tied into the royal Saudi family's investments in this country? And what Cernovich also dropped at the end of the interview is, or in his tweets on his Twitter feed at Cernovich, is that these groups are also lobbying to completely defang and kill the Terror Act Accountability Act that was supposed to allow 9/11 victims' families to sue the Saudi family.
Yeah, the JASTA Act.
The royals. Yeah, the JASTA Act. They're trying to kill JASTA.
Oh, that's
and
wonderful.
Course, Goldman, we know Goldman handles a lot of Saudi investments and
of course
U.S.
they're
treasuries
Saudi lackeys
in this country. And we also know that Goldman has relationships with, that small country in the southeastern Mediterranean, which is allied with the Saudis against Assad. So there's also that.
We will have to continue to monitor.
TJ, what else is on the radar, bro?
Well, the winds of change have set in France. Yesterday we witnessed the rejection of socialist agenda in France, and hopefully when London Paul comes on at 10 a.m., he can help break us down. So so the two front runners emerging yesterday, narrowing it down from 11 candidates down to 2V, were Macron and Le Pen. So Le Pen. Yeah. So it was
Le Pen, not Le Pen.
Le Pen.
I love it. Oh man.
Or as they call her in Russia, Marin.
So again, and this was just a completely rejection of socialist agenda. You take a look to see that basically that Macron, who was the front runner through the majority of it, continues, and he's a young guy. He's only 39 years of age. So again, it'll be interesting to see what London Paul has to say regarding that. V.
Sure, absolutely, man. The other thing that we want to look at is the fact that every single outsider has been winning in the French elections, and it has the French elitists in an absolute tizzy. Unreal. CJ, what's this I hear that the Antifa, the idiotic group of adolescent miscreants who deserve to be picked up and given massive wedgies, they are now ready for violence?
It appears that way.
Kentucky, no less.
They got their tails handed to them at Berkeley, a couple of weeks ago, and now what we're witnessing, I think they're kind of upset because they're strategizing, and I'm waiting for them to be labeled more of a terrorist organization, because that's what we're starting to witness. So yesterday, a group of
that's not going to happen.
So yesterday, a group of Antifa activists assaulted Jack Posobiec as he was entering an event. There was 3 or 4. It was very coordinated. He tweeted out what specifically happened, and ironically enough, one of the gentlemen through this is actually convicted of a felony, and it's Luke Kuhn, who was featured in the plot to blow up the deplorable ball. He's actually in the video as well. V.
Oh, that's good. These guys are such punks. It's not even funny. They're such punks. It's where do I begin? I think everybody. And we got to have Ivan Thorn back on, because he launched this website called violent.solutions. It's a website designed to catch Antifa and have them reported to the proper authorities. Check it out, violent.solutions from Ivan Thorn. I think what we need to do is not only report these guys to the authorities, I think every single Antifa member needs to be captured and given massive wedgies. I mean, massive, painful wedgies. Have you seen the wedgie that one of the members of the Sons of Odin gave to the Antifa guy? It was hilarious. The Antifa guy was like hanging. You can see he was in such pain and discomfort as his pants were being pulled over his head. It was amazing. That's what these guys need. Anyway.
I completely agree. I'm just laughing.
Massive wedgie.
Hanging from a tree.
We need to give them a beating that their daddies never gave them, because their daddies are a bunch of emasculated little nutless wonders. Anyway, what's going on with the U.S.? We see that the U.S. is getting involved in the Yemeni war. James, you touched base on that. Whichever one of you guys want to tackle that real quick.
Yeah, I'll just take it up briefly and then I'll turn it over to CJ. I just wanted to say, yes, I mean, that's part of the timing that I mentioned in the article. Why are we hearing about this big Saudi arms deal now? Well, it's obvious that what the Saudis really want is not more weapons that the Houthis can blow up, but more American advisors to teach their incompetent military how to fight with some of this equipment. And they also really want, I think, more American reconnaissance support to find these missiles that keep dropping onto their territory. You know, several weeks ago, a Scud missile of extended range, possibly assembled by some caught-chewing rocket scientists, struck outside Riyadh. This is hundreds of kilometers from the so-called combat zone. A Scud missile actually hit a part of Riyadh suburbs. And
Oh, wow.
and of course, the Patriot missiles missed, just like they did in the first Gulf War 20 years ago. You know, basically, Mattis, that's the gist of what Mattis was saying. And now this leak to Cernovich probably from one of Bannon's people. I don't think it's too hard to guess that it's coming from that direction, saying that, you know, the Saudis are really getting desperate to get us involved more involved in their war because they're losing. They've lost thousands of men. And, well, go ahead, CJ, with your part of it. What did you want to say? Your angle on
No,
it.
I think we covered it pretty well. Again, just to continue to monitor. I think probably the biggest takeaway from that is just the narrative that continues to be built regarding these hot spots, and we have a lot going on globally. Syria, Yemen, North Korea, all these things that are mounting. Yet we can't take care of ourselves on the home front. We have a deadbeat Congress who can't even get a budget passed, can't even get any health care passed.
But that's part of 4D chess. What I don't understand what you're not getting, bro. But go ahead.
No, I'm just stating that it'd be nice to see something accomplished, here stateside, other than just signing executive orders. And
You're asking too much.
we're facing a deadline this week in regards to a government shutdown, which I'm perfectly happy if these idiots can't pass a bill and agree on something. If they have to shut down the federal government, then so be it. So that's pressing these next 3 days on the Hill. So
I want the shutdown as well. I just don't want the EBT card shut off because I don't want to be in the middle of a riot if when that happens.
Definitely don't need the EBT card shut down.
Yeah, me and James need to hightail it out. We need to get out of.
There's a reason, guys. I'm spending so much time by the lake. Don't you know? I'm checking the bug out routes, the
I know
waterways.
You are. I know
I gotta find a boat captain.
It's like The Walking Dead. They have an aversion to water, bro. That's what it is, man.
The zombies don't swim.
Nobody in the PJs know how to swim. That's a fact.
I think the zombies swim in World War Z. They also seem to fly or something like that.
Oh man! Last but not least, guys, real quick, we have Afghanistan is again starting to become a hotspot. It seems.
Что делаем в Афганистане?
Yes, whatever you said, James.
What are we doing in Afghanistan?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's, we're making sure the heroin trade stays active, and and being able to sell heroin is it's a great way of making America great again. CJ, what is your take on that?
I think it's 4D chess, and this is more than likely probably just a direct result of the bombing that occurred when we dropped the mother of all bombs a couple of weeks ago. Apparently, this upset some people, so now we have the Taliban, which had infiltrated an Afghan base. Basically, one of the largest events. 150 soldiers were killed on the Afghani side, and these were killed by Taliban. So we're starting to see another hotspot start to pop up on the geopolitical side.
And the Pentagon's blaming the Russians, saying that the Russians are backing the Taliban. Funny, the grandsons. These guys are probably the grandsons of the guys that, the guy I met once in Moscow, Yevgeny Khrushchev, was fighting back in the 80s. They're probably in the third or fourth generation now.
Yeah.
Probably got some great grandsons of Mujahideen already being born. And in fact, here's an interesting stat for you. Very soon, we will have American boys fighting in Afghanistan who were not yet born on 9/11.
Yeah, that's another thing to think about. Absolutely. That's how long it's been already, guys.
It's
But you know
crazy.
that's it's part
18
of
years.
it's part of 4D chess. I don't know what you're not getting, James. I don't know what you're not getting. It's part of 4D chess. Unreal. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the topic real quick. With that being said, James, why don't you give out your shout outs, your plugs, and then CJ, you can take us away.
Yeah, well, like I said, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, just watch for my article. Hopefully, it'll be up later today or by this evening at roguemoney.net. You can follow me on Gab. I'm not on Twitter, but I'm on Gab at JWSRUS. That's JWS Rus. And that's all I have for today.
Fantastic. CJ.
Yeah, come back at 10 a.m. We'll be back with London Paul for another live show, and looking forward to it.
And with that being said, guys, check us out on roguemoney.net. Follow us on Twitter at the Rogue Money. Check out the Rogue Money Facebook page, and check out our sponsors, myfreedomnow.us. Let them kick the debtors in the nuts. We'll be back 10 a.m. London Paul. Get ready. We're over and out. Take it away, CJ.